In between the second and the third part of Resistance series, a 6-issue comic book was released, so in this video I'll explain the story that happened in those 6 issues. Resistance comic book issue 1 starts on January 1st, 1951. Air Force Squadron approaches the Chimera air fleet and one of the planes gets shot down. Pilot lands with a parachute and gets stunned by what he sees. Then we see Capelli as officer serving in a training camp. After some soldiers have been caught playing with girls in barracks, he argues with another officer whether they should let them have a little fun or not. After Capelli gets disciplined, he goes to the Sarge that caught his man and punches him in the face for laying his hand on one of them. Then Capelli and his soldiers meet Major Wills. From now on, they are a Team Alpha and work directly under SRPA. 17 hours ago, Chimera broke into Alaska and captured Anchorage Fort, a very important base for the United States. Alpha must go there and recapture the most powerful weapon against the Chimera, the hydrogen bomb. Then we see some memories from London picturing a young boy who lost his father in a Chimerian war, and his older brother joins RAF, so he is out there on his own. It's actually James Grayson, the main character in the Resistance Retribution game. Second issue starts with the Team Alpha going on their first mission. Suddenly, something hits their ship. Turns out it's Chimera monster. Humans try to defend, but Chimera Kraken destroys and sinks the ship. Luckily, Alpha Team manages to jump off and swim into the nearby land. As they walk on, suddenly, one of them gets shot in the head. They take cover, but they can't spot the enemy until another Chimera jumps on them and kills another one and turns almost invisible. It tries to grab Capelli, but he manages to kill it with a knife. Turns out this Chimera not only can mask itself, but also has a sharp claw. Capelli decides to leave the dead one behind and move on. In the third issue, Team Alpha reaches the facility and turns out it's filled with cocoons. Inside, they meet Dr. Robert Oppenheimer. He explains how Chimera invaded with overwhelming force. He only survived because he stayed in the bunker behind the 3-foot steel, while others gathered in hangar. So Chimeras got the bomb and they took it. While soldiers are discussing how it was possible for Chimera to invade Alaska without being spotted by radars, scientist explains that since they have been lowering the Earth's temperature, the land bridge between Asia and Alaska refrozen and they marched over. And then Chimera breaks the door and attacks everyone. They kill it, but the doctor realized that he forgot to synthesize the aerosol that was supposed to kill the onboard cocoons, so now the place is filled with Chimera. Issue 4 starts with an explanation that Alpha Team are actually soldiers who are immune to the transformation due to experiments of Project Abraham. Then Capelli orders his men to prepare for the incoming Chimeras. They decide to try to break through them. They shoot their way through the corridor protecting the doctor. It goes well until the creatures jump on him and bite him. But they manage to reach the door and get out of there. They take injured doctor to other parts of the building and fortify there. They make a plan to recapture the bomb that's located in the hangar. They figure that since Chimera didn't move the bomb yet, maybe they're planning to stay here and make a base out of this place. Oppenheimer's condition is getting worse. He chats with Capelli for a while, mentioning he sees great anger in him. Capelli tells him about the Project Abraham and how Malikov is experimenting on them. He mentions Hale and Shepard. Drugs they received make them have visions, seeing into the actual mind of Chimera. And he also mentions he met a girl there. Now the plan is to flush the Chimera out of the hangar. Then Murphy and Levita will run in and try to disable the bomb. And Capelli will be the bait that will make sure the Chimera stays out of the hangar. Issue 5 starts with Capelli shooting Chimera with a machine gun. But the surprise element only lasts for a short time. With overwhelming Chimera's force, they realize they won't hold for long. There's also this huge Chimera monster who still remains inside the hangar. They figure to stab it with a knife and throw a grenade into his mouth while it screams. And this plan turns out to be actually a perfect one. Then they start defusing the bomb while Capelli still fights outside with the others. He decides to retreat to an empty building. He also sends Waldron to go and get the doctor. While he does that, Capelli crashes through the wall with a tank. Well, it turns out those tanks were just parked there, so he took one. And then they go to help the two soldiers in the hangar. The bomb seems to be defused and chimeras have been stopped for now. So looks like mission accomplished, right? But as they thought so, they spotted a Chimerian ship coming from the air. Then we see James Grayson defending the city from Chimera in October 1950. He is doing well in the front line. His brother Johnny is flying back home. On a VTOL, he talks to a woman who says the war is not going well for Great Britain. Then he visits James in hospital. James got injured while destroying Goliath, and his brother tells him that he disobeyed a direct order during his last mission. James is mad at Johnny that he left him and Mom when the war started, and after an argument, Johnny leaves. In the conclusion, James says that they are losing the war, but he will see his brother one more time. Finally, she takes us to the interrogation room, tries to get some information from Capelli, who looks to be in trouble after his last mission. Then we see Capelli and his men trying to figure out what to do with the bomb. Corporal Lowitt had a plan to drop the bomb into the ocean. Capelli hears that it was a good plan because the army might have been able to salvage, but they are almost out of the ammo and chimeras are approaching. If they try to do it Levitt's way, they might succeed, but all of them will die. Doctor told him to get to the tank and leave, and he will defuse the bomb. But sadly, it exploded. So now the bomb and the man who built it are both lost. During their interrogation, Agent pushes Capelli to the edge and he punches him. Capelli points out that the explosion destroyed the ice bridge, stopping the invasion. Angry Agent threats to send him on a suicide mission. General and the other officers who are observing the questioning see potential in Levitt, but agree that Capelli is also considered useful. One of the officers reported that he tried to send a letter to a woman named Sarah, and General explains to the others that it is important to leave the soldiers the remains of humanity while they still have it. Then we get back to the story of James and his brother Johnny. Johnny gets shut down and Grayson is sent back in action, but he's going behind the lines to clear the conversion centers. Then we see him explaining how horrifying the experience was, seeing people turning into monsters. One day he finds his brother, half human, half chimera. James decides to shoot him and gives him a proper funeral. We see him standing over his brother's grave, saying goodbye to his old life and taking his jacket, promising to be a better man. And that's how the comic book ends.